straight to Tampa. Why
Well, you got a year and a half in Charlotte first. Just, you know, grind it out. Learn how to super recovery and then.
Here we go.
What's up, guys? Appreciate everybody being here. All right, first of all, congrats to Jhalyn and her crew. Won a conference title. Super cool for the school, for those girls, and for Jhalyn. So congrats to her. I know it's special being an alum and really neat. So moving on for us, recap the Charlotte game. You know, what I said after the game, the frustration of starting how we started. You know, we've got to continue to find ways to start fast, and that I think every coach in the country will tell you the same thing. That was disappointing offensively to go interception, 3 and out, first 2 drives, and felt like you were driving it and then throw a pick, and then the very next drive go 3 and out, and then you're in a dogfight there for about a quarter and a half. So that's our challenge. That's as big of a challenge for us as anything else, is to be able to start fast. Put the ball down today at practice and went right away to try to get that same vibe going. We'll continue to fight that like crazy and continue to try to get that done. Obviously, the way it ended, super proud of the way the defense stepped up. 4 turnovers is huge, 17 points between the two touchdowns, and then the 1 turnover leading to a field goal. We didn't throw the ball well offensively. Never felt like we got Bryce in a rhythm, especially after the first one. I felt like everything was kind of moving a little bit fast, and we kind of just went away from it, threw the ball on 3rd down when we had to. And Bryce was a little bit banged up all week, which didn't help the cause. So the challenge this week is to obviously be able to get the pass game back going and get him comfortable in a rhythm if it ends up being him that plays. Other than that, I thought we ran the ball really well. I thought we got in a groove and executed at a really high clip. Really proud of really the whole O-line, running backs, tight ends. I thought Bryce ran it well. I thought Izzy came in the 4th quarter. You know, that 4th quarter, the defense went turnover, 3 and out. Offensively, we held the ball for just over 10 minutes, and we're able to go finish it in a 4-minute operation for 10 minutes, which was good to see, and really good to see Iz operate at a high level. Special teams, I thought we did a really good job covering 11 kicks. Nico didn't have his best day kicking off, and so you had to cover a bunch, but we had, I think, 5 inside the 20, which was huge, against a really good return team. So that was the game. You know, Tulsa coming in here, I feel like there's so many of us that are in our 2nd year here in this league trying to get the same exact job accomplished, which is be consistent week to week. You know, offensively, it's a team that's tempo similar to us. Try to push it, try to go fast. You know, Kevin Wilson is like one of the originators of the RPO spread offense. Used to study his stuff back when he was at Northwestern, so I have a back change halfway through the year. Went from a young guy to a senior. Kid's a really good thrower of the ball, and they've had a really up and down season. You know, at the end of October, kid threw for a bunch of yards, and they went and beat UTSA, who's playing as good as anybody in our league right now. But young up front, they're trying to find their way. Defensively, really good versus the run. They've struggled versus the pass. And they're a veteran group in the back end, young up front. I feel like resemble us in a lot of ways. And a really good special teams unit. They've been really excellent, one of the top units in our league in the return game. So huge game for us. Obviously home, senior day. Last one at Ray J. For a bunch of guys, I think we're going to have 23 guys walk. The numbers are so funky with the COVID years. but 23 guys are going to walk, and there's a couple of those that can come back. But really cool moment for a lot of those guys to be able to go finish the right way at home and to continue to fight, to keep playing, to keep practicing. I'm super encouraged with where we're at, super encouraged by the way they bounced back last week after a poor performance the week before. And we just got to keep building, keep growing. And Tuesday practice today was fun, spirited. Guys are locked in, so we just got to go finish. And if there's any word, it would be that. Questions?
You've had senior days, lots of them in your career, I'm sure. This one, a lot of significant players will be out there. Atkins, Joyner, Naquan Wright, R.J. Perry, tons of others probably. I mean, guys that are meaningful. What's it going to be like for you to recognize them, and what are your emotions about this? You know, these guys are moving on. Some of them maybe never to play football again. Just the emotions of the whole ceremony like this.
Yeah, gosh, I hope they play football again, like hopefully right after that, and then
After the season.
yeah, I got you. Yeah, you know, I told we team meet Friday night, every Friday night, and it's just the team, me, and Gio, our strength coach, and Coach Jones, our director of player development, and so it's like a really, really kind of an intimate environment in terms of just us. And I told the guys last Friday night, you know, the coolest thing about college football and the part that I love the most is obviously the players and the interaction, and what really still makes this game special is these dudes all got really, really unique stories. I've got a unique story. These guys are able to tell their story through what they do on the field and are able to hopefully better the world in some way, shape, or form. And not to get too deep, but like the guys you named, each one got such a cool story. I respect the journey. I respect the story of each of these guys, and you know, those guys you named, like an R.J. Perry, who came with us, you know, 2 years ago, like didn't have the year he wanted to a year ago. Now he's taken every snap at left tackles, had a phenomenal year, like has become really confident. He's always been really smart, always been really tough, but is actually really confident right now and playing at a high level. Like what that dude's going to do with his life is going to be really special. You just like Sean Atkins, like talk about it, walk on, set every receiving record here. Like they each got these really, really cool stories, whether underdog stories or not. Like there's a bunch of really cool individual stories, and they continue to write their story as we go here. It'll be cool. It'll be neat. I guess I don't think too much about it until we get there, but maybe emotional in some way. I think it's always different when you know you're going to keep playing. So it's a little bit different in that regard. Last year, senior day, you were standing there and you're like, man, like we got to go win this one to keep playing. So it's a little bit different because you know you've got obviously games afterwards. But I think it's surreal in a lot of ways, but it's the coolest part of this game is that you get to be a part of these guys' journeys.
What or who is clicking or working in terms of the run blocking? I mean, somebody's blocking for those guys.
Yeah, I think we're really confident right now. You know, we made some changes on the offensive line. Feel like we've gotten better there in general with the changes. Like Zane Herring came back last week. That was a huge piece of it. And I thought Jack Wiltie did a really good job in the couple games Zane missed. But Zane's like special. Zane's an all-conference, like really, really good player that's got a future in this thing. Not that Jack doesn't. Jack's first year in the system. Jack's figuring it out still. Jack's played all over the place for us. But Zane at guard is different. Like, that's a 335-pound dude that can help. I thought the tight ends played really, really well this week too. Where against Navy, I thought it was as bad as we've played at that spot. And we've been banged up there. Gunnar Greenwald came back, helped in a big way there. Peyton played his best game blocking-wise. So, you know, I think the run game, especially with what we do on offense in terms of the tempo, like halfway through the second quarter into halftime, that O-line like had a look in their eye where it was like, all right, those guys are tired. We're going. And what we do on offense, not to give every trade secret out, but like you can wear people down as long as you can stay in rhythm and stay on the field. You can wear people down, and no matter how much you rotate on the D-line, you're gonna get worn down. And the games we've had success in the third and fourth quarter, we've run the ball efficiently, stayed ahead of the sticks, and sets up your play action pass game. Everything becomes a little bit easier. But I think a combination of those guys, I thought the backs ran, those guys saw it really, really well. I think the coolest part was being able to get Alvon Isaac in there at the end and let him go take. He's been playing on special teams for us, but let him go see it a little bit different too. We kept the starters out there one more drive. I wanted Iz to get it with the starters. I wanted Vaughn to get it with the starters. That was really good. It was good to get Jalen Johnson in there. It was good to get Asias Young in there. Like, guys get real game reps. But I thought that once we got going, you kind of just feel it kind of dent. In there, those guys would tell you they're leaning on the D-line. They felt pretty good about it.
When you got here, the offensive line, in terms of depth, was your bleakest area, right? Really bleak.
Yeah, there were 6 guys.
6 guys.
Yeah. It's like I feel like every week you watch on crossover film somebody that left here that's somewhere else playing. There were 6 scholarship guys, and I think there's 4 of those guys left. So, yeah, Coach Hoodie has, you talk about, I think we've went and signed 16 guys in 2 recruiting classes. That's a lot. And we've tried to maintain this balance of signing high school guys that we can develop. Like you're seeing Terrion Mormon playing a bunch. He's played some different spots for us. Tyreek Majors played in 3 games. Like TJ Lawrence is taking some reps and doing a really good job. You're starting to see these young guys kind of come on while taking guys from the portal, some older guys that you feel like can help you. And it's just been a mix of those. But you hope in year 4 and 5, you put 3-4 recruiting classes of high school guys together that you've developed, that you should be, at least in our hope, dominant there. But yeah, it was not pretty.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about the running backs. I got a chance to talk to Teron earlier this week, and you can tell there's a lot of love in that running back room. What kind of mindset do you have to have when it's, you have him, you have Kelly, you have Naquan there? They all feel like they're gonna get touches. They're all pulling for each other. What kind of mindset do those 3 especially have to have, knowing that, all right, it may be a little while, but when you get in there, you're gonna get your chance?
Yeah, it's unique. You got 3 of them, and knock on wood, they've stayed healthy the whole time for the most part. I think it helps you to stay healthy too when you're not taking every single rep. I think it helps you to stay healthy when you know there's a guy behind you that the second you got something tweaked is going to take your reps. It's competitive by nature, but they respect each other so much. I think because they're really all 3 of those guys, and the young guys too, but they work. Like they are really intentional in how they work, and so there's a mutual respect in there. I think they know, man, this is my drive. We try to not, some guys, like there's certain guys that are better at certain things than others, so how we start the game determines a little bit of that. They also know, based on practice, who's going to get to start. And so it's uber competitive, but they're all really humble, really, really good dudes that it's easy to respect each other. I think it's the only way it was going to work. And it was nerve-wracking, like when we brought Teron in, that was the entire conversation of like, dude, you're coming in, you're going to go compete for this job, but like it can't be where you screw this thing up. Like it's a close group. You can't come in here acting like a jerk. And that part of who we went after there, like that personality type was really, really important too. We wanted a veteran guy. We wanted a guy that could come in and add a ton of value. And Teron's unique because I think at one point he had more receptions than he had carries. So that was what we wanted in that regard too. But Florida kid was originally committed here I think to Charlie's staff back in the day, and wanted to be here. So there was factors that went into him being the guy specifically for us. But a humble approach by all 3 of those guys, and you see like really saw it when Teron went in and scored. Like the first 2 guys, I'm literally pulling Naquan off the field to like get back in the box. Like they're genuinely really happy for each other. You saw when Vaughn scored, it was like, man, like 10 weeks of this kid taking reps without getting in the game, and like it's a cool deal. You hope the entire team is that. You saw when, not to get on a tangent, but Paco picked that ball off. You know, and T.O. had just told the defense on Friday, Paco had literally 250 balls on the jugs that week. And T.O. was like, you're going to get one this week. Like, the football gods are going to reward you. And there, he gets one. Like, they demanded he danced on the sideline. Like, there's some really cool things in that regard. Again, when things are going well, it's easy, right? It's when things are tough that you're trying to build up and callous these guys to be in this, have exactly the same mindset.
Alex, you mentioned RJ didn't have the season he wanted last year. What's really been the difference for him this time around?
Yeah, 100% mindset. RJ, man, I've been coaching RJ. I used to coach, when I was the offensive coordinator at the last place, I literally coached one thing on special teams, and that was the ends on field goal team. I'm not sure how that happened, but that's just what I did, and he was my guy. Literally, my interaction with RJ every day was 3 minutes a day of coaching that, and obviously interacted with him outside of that, but like up until last year, or up until this year, RJ was still playing that same end spot, and I continue to coach the ends on field goals. So, you know, I think totally mindset. RJ's so talented in terms of athletic ability. You know, he was a hooper, had Division I offers as a basketball player. I think got recruited as a D lineman to the last spot. Coming over to the O-line, it's so different. The mindset's so different in terms of play to play, being able to go execute. Don't get just a ton of credit for what you do there. And just, he's always been tough, always been gritty, always been uber athletic. But it is a different mindset to play offensive line, especially in this offense where it's just go, 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 go. What's always helped him, what got him through last year was he's uber intelligent. Like, one, he knew the offense. Two, he's highly, highly intelligent. Understands defensive structures, understands safety rotations. He's always just kind of gotten away with being athletic and big. And now spent the entire offseason fine-tuning his skill set from a technical standpoint. He's always had the tactical part, but from a technical standpoint, and taking ownership and being a leader, I think he's figured out it's really cool to just work really hard rather than all the other BS that goes with this. And like, talk about proud, like that guy, man, like he's grown up, and sometimes it takes 5 years.
How was one of the younger players on your team, Jhalyn Smith, special teams guy, receiver, dual sport athlete, right? Runs track and field, a sprinter. What is it about sprinters that uniquely make good football players too?
Yeah, I don't know if sprinters make good football players. I think being really fast helps you at the wideout spot. Yeah, Jaquan, really unique, and in the sense that, you know, we got on Jaquan late. It was literally, we were looking for a slot, and we were looking for somebody that could run. Had lost Jimmy Horn there, and you were trying to replace him with somebody that could run. And came across his film, and he was going to stay on the West Coast, but got his story, which was he's originally from Sarasota, family moved out to San Bernardino, and literally it was like almost like a cold call. And then went out there and had to agree to let him run track, because that was going to be the deal. And I think it came down to us in Utah, and if I'm not wrong, Utah doesn't have track, and we promised him he can run track here, and it's kind of home for him in terms of he's still got family in Sarasota. He's got a brother there, got aunts and uncles, and it just kind of worked out. But to answer your question, it helps him that he's really fast. But Jaquan's a kid that, you know, we talked about earlier in the year where he was banged up all of last year, and it was always something different. And not that track guys are always banged up, but he was banged up. Came into this year, he's always had a really good skill set in terms of he could run. He had to develop as a wideout, and got on special teams early, was like our best gunner, was our best guy in kickoff, was always really physical, just had to continue to grow as a wideout. And over the last 5 games we've moved him outside just because that's where the need was. He's done some really good things in terms of being able to take the top off, how he's blocked on the perimeter. He's got to become more consistent. But again, you got to keep reminding yourself that he's 19. This is really his second year focusing on football. I think his future is so crazy bright. It'll be really, really fun to watch him as he continues to go. But really hard what he has to do, because winter, spring, we're asking him to put weight on. Track staff is asking him to be really, really fast. So finding that balance is really hard, but he's done a really good job with it.
The last few weeks on the O-line, we've seen Andrew Kilfoyle, Cole Best with big roles. What have they added to the dynamic? You say that made some changes and O-line's playing better. What have those two guys added? Well,
Andrew Kilfoyle was banged up the whole first half of the year, and he got healthier and healthier as it went. That was, we were missing that size in there inside, and missing that grittiness in there that he brought a year ago. And him and Cole Skinner competed there. Deontay Bowie was hurt, then came back, then hurt again. Really, those 3 guys competed at that left guard spot while Jack Wiltie was kind of filling in all over the place. And as soon as AK was healthy enough to go, literally those guys went through the whole week, and AK had the best week, and he's kind of hung on there. Really physical, really violent. Man, he's so big that those inside run lanes really, really get opened up a little bit quicker when he's in there. Cole, I give Cole a lot of credit, because Cole's kind of hung in there, and that was a really, really tough change. And to be honest with you, Mike Lofton is such a huge part of what we do as a program from a leadership standpoint. He took so many plays last year. He's gotten beat up. He's gotten healthy. He's pushed through, had an ankle all beginning part of the year, pushed through that. And Mike is tough. Mike is smart. That was a tough change just because Mike has anchored that group since we've been here. We recruited Mike when I was 3 jobs ago. And so I've known Mike since high school, and Mike is such an awesome human being, and Mike has done a really, really good job of handling, this is not an easy situation for him, but Mike is such a team guy. He's such an awesome human being, honestly, better man than I would have been at 23 to say, okay, I get it. He's playing better than I am right now. He's healthier than I am right now. I get it. And Cole has done a good job of taking it, spending so much time being able, everything goes through that guy on the O-line. And Mike and him bounce off of each other all the time, but I feel like we found a good groove right now. But just like we tell everybody at every position, man, it's week to week. You got to go ball through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to give us confidence to go play, to give your teammates confidence that we're going to go play. Right now it's working, and trying to not jack it up.
Coach, what will it take to be bowl eligible, and what are those conversations like with your players in terms of going week to week, focusing on the task at hand while still having the goal in mind or the bowl game?
Yeah, we've never had a goal of a bowl game. That's, I know maybe cliche, but literally just trying to be the best version of us week to week. And we've not once talked about, you can ask these guys about a bowl game. My expectation, I think our players' expectations, I think everybody's expectations, that when we get this to where everybody expects it to be, we're not competing to go to a bowl game. Obviously, the purpose of the bowl game, one, to continue to keep practicing, get another opportunity to go play. It's the next step for us. I think everybody understands, we've got to continue to get better. We've got to continue to grow. There's so many advantages to the bowl game in terms of you get these extra practices, you get another opportunity with your team to go somewhere else, continue to build the culture within your program. You get these mid-year high school guys, any transfers, you can bring them in. They can go through these practices with you, so when they get here in January, they understand the culture, they understand what they're walking into. There's so many innate advantages, but I've never once said anything about a bowl game to our guys, and we don't talk in that regard. We're talking about Tulsa, and the end. I think everybody knows the end result of that would be that you become bowl eligible. But And I'm not downplaying the importance of it, but I also, like, that's never been the goal. And there's no win total that's the goal for us as after practice. Like, the only thing that matters is these meetings at 5:20 and how you eat right now, what you do academically before 5:20, what those meetings look like, what dinner looks like, your prep after the dinner, and then how you sleep tonight. And that's it. And then when we come in tomorrow morning, we'll adjust tomorrow. And I think you get any further ahead than that, like, I can probably manage that, but I think at 18 to 23 years old, it's like, what do I got next?
Coach, you're so process-driven, and you can tell the guys have been echoing it for the better part of 2 seasons now, but how do you also denote progress to know that, like, there's proof of concept that this is working? Because, of course, you don't want to go too far down, you don't want to become complacent, you guys are very, again, focused on the process, but how do you look at it in certain ways? Like you just mentioned RJ Perry growing, not as a player, but as a human being. How do you find that balance so that you, like, let the guys know, like, hey, we've come this far, let's keep it going?
Yeah, I think the biggest 2 things with them that I measure are execution and effort. And that's how I think you can evaluate it. And it point from an assignment standpoint, from an effort standpoint, the thing that is a complete non-negotiable in the program is the effort piece. Like, you don't go hard play to play, you're not going to play. And not only not going to play, like, you're just not going to be here. The execution standpoint is what you're constantly trying to manage. And that's where I think from a coaching side, what can the young man handle? What can he execute in a week? And then if you're saying, man, I'm coaching it, and I'm not seeing it on the field, then either we're coaching it wrong or the young man can't comprehend it, then we got to pull back and be able to do what he can do. I think that's the hardest part of the schematic part of the coaching. So I think we measure progress, at least I measure progress in we're executing better week to week. Our effort is where it needs to be. Now, we got to continue to recruit and get players and create depth to create competition. I think it's probably for somebody else externally to evaluate in terms of wins and losses, and I get that. Like, I totally understand the win mark has to continue to climb for us to show progress. I think within our walls, progress is our day-to-day process, and that's why I constantly use that as the benchmark, because I can tell you from an accountability standpoint where we are, from how we handle our academics where we are, from our body weights to how we hydration test every day, to from a physical endurance standpoint where we are. But at the end of the day, like, big picture, we got to get bigger, we got to get stronger, we got to get faster, we got to get older, and then we got to execute at a high clip, and we got to play really hard. At the end of the day, that's where you go. I think that's the hardest thing, and that is the challenge to us, I think, in this era of coaching. And I think we're all learning as a profession right now that it's very, very week to week what your team looks like. And I could stand up here forever and give you my philosophy on it. We got people on our staff that are, like, working on it as we speak. Like, why do you go out, and this is deeper than it probably needs to be in a press conference, but why do we go out and not execute against Navy over and over and over and over, but we go out and execute against, name the team? And why is it up one week, down to the next? I think that is the biggest challenge to us as coaches. And you can see it all over the country and it's not even the major upset week to week, it's the parity of all of it. And so if we're all kind of even, how can one team find ways every week and one team can't? I truly believe it's the culture within the program and the leadership within the program. And so, like, what does that locker room look like? And it's the continuous finding a balance of you can argue a million different things. You can argue portal, bringing in older guys, mixing them with young guys. You can argue NIL, because these guys, it is different than it was when you were playing, right? Like, there's like, these kids got more resources, got more money than they ever had. So what is the importance of this compared to that? It all comes down to recruiting, I think. in terms of bringing in the right people. And the right people doesn't mean that they're all choir boys or they're, you know, like the right people means dudes that are about the right things, that are willing to work really, really hard, that are competitive. And they can come from every walk of life, and it's constantly finding a balance. And I think as I'm learning, as we're all growing, I think as our profession's growing, or as our profession's learning, balance is the entire piece of it, which is why I've been so adamant about recruiting high school guys at a high level, developing them, and then bringing in guys to fit holes as you need to. But the foundation has to be these guys that you develop. And you just hope, I guess, in year 3 and year 4 and year 5 of your program that it just continues to climb in terms of these guys developing and getting better and better while maintaining the culture within your program. And I think that's the biggest challenge to us in our profession, and that's why you're seeing how volatile it is right now. Because the expectation is you got to win, clearly. So it's super interesting.
Coach, you're 10 games into the season. Everybody's heard you, just to what degree? Do you have to change your coaching techniques and philosophy for November football?
I don't think you have to change your techniques or philosophy by any means. You gotta be able to adjust practice. You gotta be able to adjust what you're doing. You know, and I give Gio a lot of credit. Like there's and TK, our director of sports science, where it's a daily deal of where are we, or what are we getting, what do we need, and we meet on Sunday, set up the plan for the week. We've got the plan for next week already set. In terms of where do you cut, where do you increase. Obviously the physical bashing of each other is the balance that you got to keep in terms of getting these guys ready, especially up front, getting them ready to go for Saturday while not taking as many hits, because the hits add up. And if I hear anything every single day from Gio, it's time on feet is time on feet. Like, you got to get them off their feet. And so it's finding the balance of that. That's like I said, there's guys that are helping me with it. At the end of the day, I got to make decisions every day on how much do we need of this. And there's a lot of talking going on. Like, LD, what do you need from a wideout stand? Like, can I cut this? No, don't cut that. Awesome. Coach Hoodie, what do you need? Can I cut that? No, don't cut that. And it's just finding a balance of what we need.
Coach, you didn't play Tulsa last year. You had no frame of reference, but they don't have a frame of reference of you. Is that an advantage or a disadvantage?
Probably it's an equal, I guess, would be disadvantage, I would think. When you played somebody a year ago, you knew how they were going to attack you, whether it's defensively or attack you offensively. Obviously, they're in the same exact boat. So I don't think it's an advantage to anybody. But you're trying to find similar opponents. You're trying to find similar tendencies from people that are similar to you on both sides of the ball to see how they try to attack it. And I think it's interesting.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
You said Bryce was banged up last week and that he might play this week. Could you give us like a clarification on what his injury is and if Byron's also going to come back? And if we don't see either of them, will Izzy start this week?
Sure. Bryce is close to healthy now. He was healthy enough to go play Saturday. Byron practiced today. We're going to continue to go through the week with him. And if neither of those guys could go, Izzy would start, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
RJ and Shuler, this is a treat. RJ's first. Guys, load him up.
All right, RJ Perry, left tackle, for leading us to 297 yards in our last 3 wins, 297 yards rushing.
Well, RJ, we'll love you up by asking about your relationship with Coach and how it's grown. Obviously, he brought you here to USF, and if you could talk about how it grew, particularly last year. He said you didn't have the season you wanted.
Yes, sir.
This year, you really are having a great season. And if you could talk about how he maybe helped you through your first year here at USF and relationship with him overall now.
It's been great being with Coach Golesh and the rest of the guys that came from Tennessee. I got recruited by them when they was at UCF. They didn't know that. I was a D lineman then. But overall, it's been great. It's been amazing this year. I want to say they brought me in last year. It was a little hectic because I was new here. I didn't know too many people. I was still trying to get my feet wet, trying to learn new positions, trying to play everything, trying to be that guy for the team when I should have just been like that guy for my position. So this year came around. I learned more about myself, got closer with the guys on the team, interacted more with the coaches, interacted more with the people around Tampa, and it just helped me out overall. And Coach Golesh can tell you, like, it's a big difference from now since last year. Like, it's a big difference.
You hope to have 3 more games remaining this year, of course. What we know is that Saturday will be your final home game, your last home game in your 2 years at USF. Any thoughts going into that, the senior week?
Yeah, I was talking to the guys last week about it. It's a little sad story because it felt like it's been forever, but it's only been 2 years. So I really enjoyed my time in Temple, had fun while I was here. But it's going to be a good one come Saturday. Last time coming out of Ray J. I'm going to have fun while I'm at it, though.
What has been working or clicking with this group lately? Obviously, your run blocking has been very effective.
I stepped up when Mike had the back from Storing. I stepped up as a leader in the room, and I made the guys, like, every Thursday, since it's our free time, I made the guys, like, we all get together on the line. We all get together. We either have a cookout, we go out to eat, chill, do something. Like, we sitting there playing with each other. Like, we sitting there playing something with each other. No matter what it is, cooking, eating, every Thursday we're together. And I challenge a lot of guys on the team, especially on the offensive side of the ball, to do that. And it's really been showing lately, if you can tell. We've been putting up 200-plus yards in every accolade we got.
Where's the main go-to spot on Thursday?
We either go have a cookout, really, or we go to Hooters.
Where are you going to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Put those wings away.
Oh, yeah.
How long do those last, those meetings? Like,
You said what?
how long do those meetings last on Thursdays? How long do y'all go?
We'll go about at like 5, 6 o'clock. We'll stay at about 9.
Okay.
Like we'll be done eating about an hour or 2 ago. We'll just be sitting there talking, just having a great conversation. Not even about football, it's about life. You learn more about your brother, so the more you learn about your brother, it's gonna show on the field, because you know you're gonna have his back, because you know his story, you know his why, you know his meaning to why he's doing football.
RJ, what is it like, and Coach kind of brought it up, what is it like when you're running the football, you know you're running the football, and you look across the line of scrimmage, and they're right for the taking? What is that feeling like when you look across and see a defensive line that wants no piece of that running game, and you know you still have half a game left?
It looks amazing. It looks amazing, because when you get to see somebody like that that's dog tired, that don't want to go no more, that's ready to tap, and you got all your energy left because you're used to doing what you do, it's amazing. It's like seeing a steak at what's a Brazilian steakhouse? Give me a name.
I forgot the name of it.
Fogo de chao?
Yeah.
Something like that. Fogo de chao. Like it looked like something like that for offensive line, and we finna have fun with it.
What about the running backs, man? I mean, it's just have a multitude of guys back there. Whoever gets their number called, they seem to do their thing. How cool is it to see the camaraderie? Because obviously, offensive line, you just mentioned yours, but that camaraderie in the running back room, and just to know whoever's number's called, they're going to be able to do the job.
Those guys, some serious, man. Like I feel like they bond way more closer than I bond with as O-line. How the way they be together. Like if you see one, you see all 6 of them. They walk in the dinner together. They sit in the locker room together. Like that room is like vibrant. Like you can't, nobody can get past that room. No matter what it is, you can't get in the middle of them. You can't mess up what they got going on. You can't tell them one thing, somebody will tell them no. They all on one chain.
Being an offensive lineman, I don't care who you're playing.
Right.
You're hitting somebody every play. It's not like a wide receiver, running back, or quarterback.
Yes, sir.
What's it like the day after trying to recover?
Oh, man. It's a lot of miles. There's a lot of miles on your body after that one game. Because you in the trenches, so, like, you hitting, pounding every single play. You don't get no play off. Even when you pull, you got to go find a linebacker or cornerback or something like that. You still got to pound somebody every play. So it's hard. It's hard being an O-line, especially after that recovery day. It's hard.
Pass block or run block? What do you want to do?
Pass. Pass.
When you look at this season, just for you, what was your goal this season? If it's still not over, just what was your goal?
My goal was I want to be all conference player. Then after that, I want to get drafted. that's just been my goal since I was a kid. Whatever conference I was in, I want to be all conference. I want to get drafted. I want to be able to wake up and buy my house, a new G-Wagon or something like that. That's just always been my goal.
And obviously, you got to finish out season first. Have you guys talked amongst yourself, players-wise, about a bowl game? Is that a goal for you? Coach was like, week to week, but just from your perspective.
Yeah, me and the guys in the whole lot room been talking about bowl games. We've been talking about what we're going to be at. Hopefully we close to one before Christmas. That's what we all been thinking about. Hopefully we get one way before Christmas.
Got to go through Tulsa first.
Yeah.
What challenges do they present?
Yeah, they got a decent D-line. Something we haven't seen in a while, but they do a lot of movement in the inside, like the three techs, the two wides. They do a lot of movement, cross body, things like that. They DNs. They pretty good. They play upfield a lot, so we'll be able to get our hands on them and do our thing.
RJ, the record before you got here was not too pleasant, but obviously the last couple of years it seems to be on the ascent. What is the biggest change that you would say that you've seen throughout this entire program that has gotten them to the point where you guys are a win away from being bowl eligible for the second straight year?
The team mindset is not no one person for one person, like everybody's for everybody. It shows every day, like in each room, like we all hang around each other, even like no matter where we at. We see one person hanging out, we see one person walking somewhere, oh yeah, hold on, let me come with you. Like, we see people walking from Bellman, like on our way in for practice, we see people walking in from Bellman. We're like, hold on, come hop in, I'll take you to the facility. Like, it's a team first mindset now. And I don't know what it was before I got here, but like since I got here, it's been a team first mindset. And everybody loved each other in this facility.
Else for RJ? All right.
Thank you, RJ.
Thank you.
Good luck, Sam.
RJ, who's the most impressive leader when you guys are out?
Coach Skinner.
Is that right?
Coach
Okay.
Skinner.
Thank you, RJ. All right, senior linebacker Jhalyn Shuler. Missed most or all of our first 5 games of the season. Last 5 games, he's tallied 38 tackles and 5 tackles for loss. Any questions for Jhalyn?
This is good as you felt, Jhalyn? I mean, everything's been going great for you the last few weeks. Is this as good as you felt since you've been?
Nah, I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's late in November. I missed the first half of the season, so I don't have the initial wear and tear, you know what I'm saying, everybody else, but
No.
yeah.
No, you had to, obviously, everybody had a rough time of it against Navy, but you really turned the tables big time against Charlotte, and you were like a snowball going downhill. How could that maybe set the table for these last couple regular season games now?
I mean, honestly, last game, the game next week, we ain't really worried about it. Like, of course, what happened last week was the complete opposite of what happened the week before, but we try to go game by game. So regardless of if we had a great game last week or a horrible game last week, the outcome of it, we don't want it to affect how we play and how we prepare this week.
What do you see in Tulsa and what they bring to the table offensively?
It's really similar to our offense in a way. A lot of 11P, a lot of motion. They tempo, not the last two games, I don't think, but they usually go at a pretty fast pace. So it's a lot like our offense in some ways, and then different in their ways, of course. But it is nothing crazy.
And any feelings on the senior week, obviously? Last home game for a lot of guys on Saturday. What are you feeling?
I mean, it's bittersweet, hopefully bigger, better things to come, obviously. But, yeah, I mean, try to have fun with the last night that I do get done.
Jim, what's the kind of the way that you guys got to start strong, right? I mean, that's the big thing, is trying to put the full, complete game together. It seems like when you've had some big wins this year, gotten better as the game goes on. But what's kind of the talk within either your room or on your side of the ball, like, hey, this is what we have to do to start fast?
Just how we prepare all week. Like, the first things we do in practice is like start fast drill. So whether that's going against our offense or doing a tempo on air drill, like pretty much just the things we do during the week. Like I said, we just start fast. Hopefully it'll transpire into the game.
Defensive players are gladiators. You're the lead gladiator in that arena. What was it like having to stand on the sidelines hurt and not being able to be out there?
as a player, like, and the person myself, it sucked, but I figured out a lot of stuff about myself, like different ways to lead that's not on the field, and for the most part, that's all it was. Like, just every time we come off the field, I'm finding whoever was in Ped and Mac or whatever, and like, all right, look, that was cool, but like, look, we got to get this down, or like making sure that they're stepping up to be the lead gladiators at that point, you know. So
The way the college game is set up now, every role face the offense. You know, we all know that. Playing with a clean sheet, getting a 0 up on the board is almost impossible. Keeping a team in the 20s, that's still a good defensive effort, isn't it?
yeah, but I mean, we in the business of throwing no hitters, you know what I'm saying? So like, you know, of course, as fewest points is, you know, what we want, but 0 is what we're going for.
It's got to help to see that offense clicking and putting numbers up.
Yeah, and I mean, that plays a big part of it too. Like, you know, obviously, especially with how fast our offense goes, a lot of times that makes it a little difficult to, you know what I'm saying, consistently, because if they're not doing as good as we would like, then, you know, they're just consistently going. We just both rotating on and off offense and defense. So that makes it a little difficult, you know what I'm saying, us being out there a little longer when our drives on offense don't go as planned. But when they're rolling, it makes it a lot easier to get stops.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is Max still talking about his touchdown?
We was talking about that today, actually. Nah, but he's as crazy as it is. Like, he was real humble about it. And I told him that was probably one of my favorite plays that like I've ever like been a part of, like in football. And I've made a lot of good plays, but more so for him, like just the fact that he was able to go pick it up and go score is probably one of my favorite plays. It's a really cool picture too of us hugging in there.
Right.
You and Mac are very close. You kind of coined the phrase 24/7 defense, your numbers. Talk about your thoughts as you're playing maybe the last 2 to 3 games of your career side by side.
Again, like, just bittersweet. I mean, the time he hosted me on my official visit, actually, when I left junior college to come here, and real cool dude. I was like, yeah, like, you know, we'll get along. Like, I knew off rip, like, we'll get along, but obviously didn't know that the relationship that we have now would be so strong as it is. But just being able to get to know him over the past 3 years, and, you know what I'm saying, especially play beside him, that it's a blessing and bittersweet.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
Good luck, Jay.
Appreciate you.
All right, thanks, everybody. Good to see everybody today.